As fines pile up against law-breaking motorists, Transport Minister Vinit Goenka has justified these fines, saying the intention is to make people follow the rules.
सरकार को फाइन ज़्यादा करने की कोई ये नहीं है, इच्छा नहीं है। प्रश्न ये है कि ऐसा समय ना आए कि किसी के ऊपर फाइन लगे, सब कानून का पालन करें।
And this is what we are discussing in the big story today here, asking if higher fines means better safety or more corruption. In other news, swimming coach caught on camera molesting a young swimmer. 15-year-old swimmer accused the coach of sexually harassing her for the last 6 months. The Goa Swimming Federation has sacked the coach. Sports Minister has called in for strict violation. In a big setback to former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, the Supreme Court dismisses his plea seeking interim protection from custodial interrogation by the ED in the INX media case. The death toll mounts to 23. After a blast at a cracker factory in Gurdaspur in Punjab, 20 people also injured. Chief Minister has called for a magisterial inquiry into the blast, also levelled 2 buildings in this accident. Residents of Kolkata angered after negligence sees at least 10 houses in the Bow Bazaar collapse because of metro construction underground. Authority has now announced a compensation of 5 lakh rupees to those who have lost their homes. The death toll because of rains in Maharashtra goes up to 5. This was a day of heavy rainfall that we'd seen yesterday. Residents of Bhiwandi, one resident who dies after falling into an open drain. You are with the big story with us. I'm Seher Zama. The top focus here is the nature of fines on traffic violation, the new hiked up fines. Vehicle owners who've begun to feel the heat of this. This new Motor Vehicles Act. Traffic police are imposing hefty fines for multiple violations. Motorists already lining up here at the PUC centres. This is for getting your pollution check certificates. The amended act, which invites a 10,000 rupee penalty for a PUC violation if you do not have a renewal of your pollution certificate. In Delhi alone, there were over 84,000 PUC certificates which were issued between the period of 1st to the 3rd of September. Remember, the Motor Vehicles Act is now being implemented starting this month, 1st of September, all across India. Some states, of course, have not agreed with this. But the other states where it has been implemented immediately, there have been hefty fines for people. We're getting you specific cases here in point. In Gurugram, a truck driver who was fined 59,000 rupees. This was for multiple offences. He was allegedly driving under the influence of alcohol, was driving without license, without insurance, and was driving rashly. So these were multiple fines amounting to a total of 59,000 rupees.
ये जो चालान किए गए हैं ये नियमानुसार मोटर व्हीकल एक्ट के जो प्रोविजंस हैं उनके मुताबिक किए गए हैं और जो चालान किए गए हैं इसमें जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स जो ऑनर है जिसका चालान कटा है अगर वो बाद में पेश कर देता है उसके ओरिजिनल डॉक्यूमेंट्स तो उसके फाइन से डिडक्ट हो जाते हैं.
Our correspondent Alok getting us these details here. Alok, case in point here being in Gurugram. This is the highest that we are reporting so far that anyone's been fined. One single individual and multiple violations, 59,000 rupees. Many, of course, are asking whether nature of these fines. Of course, first they're burning a huge hole in your wallet, whether or not you can afford this or not. But more importantly, it's significant to keep in mind that traffic violation then, for anyone who's paid that amount, you would remember never to repeat the violation.
Yes, Seher, in fact, that very powerful statement today given by our Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari, and he in fact said that their intention is not to charge the heavy amount, and in fact they want the people to follow the traffic rules. So it is very important point that he made. But as far as the states are concerned, several states have already adopted. However, there are several other states have not yet adopted. Right now, I am standing in Delhi, and in fact, as you are talking about the CNG stations, these are the CNG centers where people are queuing up for checking their vehicles. And in fact, right now I am standing in one of those centers. Here you can see there are people who have come here. We'll talk to some of them also, so that we could get some reactions from them, what problems they are facing, because in Delhi there are only 950 pollution checking centers, and now because the numbers has been increased, so there are people who are facing trouble also. भाई साहब कितनी देर से खड़े हुए हैं आप यहाँ पे?
मुझे लगभग मैं 11:15 के आसपास आ गया था
जी।
और वैसे काम सही कर रहे हैं, बट सर्वर में दिक्कत आ रही है,
सर्वर में
तो उस वजह से काफ़ी टाइम लग रहा है।
अच्छा,
अभी कम से कम 2-2.5 बज जाएंगे मुझे यहाँ पोल्यूशन कराते कराते। हाँ,
पहले कब खत्म हुआ आपका पोल्यूशन?
पहला पोल्यूशन में परसों ही खत्म हुआ है।
परसों ही खत्म
हाँ।
हुआ है। अच्छा सर, आपका कब खत्म हुआ पोल्यूशन?
1 साल हो गया।
1 साल खत्म हो गया था। अब आपको याद आया अभी कर पोल्यूशन बढ़ाने का?
अब याद आया,
क्यों, कारण क्या है अब याद आया?
चालान तगड़ा हो गया।
चालान तगड़ा हो गया। तो अब तैयार हैं आप, मानते हैं इस जो सरकार की नीति है उसको आप सपोर्ट करते हैं?
बिल्कुल करेंगे जी,
बिल्कुल करेंगे। तो ये पहले हो जाना चाहिए था, आपको लगता
पहले हो जाना चाहिए था।
है? अच्छा सर, आपका कब से खड़े हुए हैं?
पोल्यूशन खड़ा है भाई भैया, खत्म हो गया। हम भी खड़े हैं 1-1.5 घंटे से।
2-1.5 घंटे से खड़े हुए हैं। तो अभी कब तक नंबर आएगा?
बस नंबर आ जाएगा, सर्वर डाउन है, इसके बाद कह रहे हैं नंबर आ ही जाएगा।
सर्वर डाउन। अच्छा, ठीक है। So, sir, these are the people, and in fact, these are the pollution that employs also those who are at the center. भाई साहब, क्या दिक्कत हो रही है सर्वर?
तो बहुत स्लो चल रहा है,
बहुत स्लो चल रहा है।
और मतलब एकदम से लोड पड़ गया, उसकी वजह से बहुत स्लो चल
अच्छा,
रहा
एक
है।
बात ये बताइए, पिछले 2-3 दिनों में लोगों की संख्या बहुत बढ़ गई है। पहले तो बहुत कम लोग आते थे, शायद कुछ लोग आते भी नहीं थे मेरे ख्याल से। अभी इधर 2-3 दिन में बहुत सारे लोग इकट्ठे हो गए हैं। कैसे आप लोग इस चीज़ को मैनेज कर रहे हैं?
तो मैनेज ऐसे ही कर रहे हैं कि भाई लाइन से आओ और थोड़ा पेपर इकट्ठे कर लेते हैं, उस हिसाब से बुलाते रहते हैं, आते रहते हैं।
तो आप लोग ने कुछ एम्प्लॉय बढ़ाया है सरकार ने आप लोग के लिए, ताकि आप पोल्यूशन भी चेक करो सको, कि कागज भी देखना रहता है, गाड़ी में वो पाइप भी लगाना रहता है, पोल्यूशन ऐसा कुछ नहीं, आप ही लोग को सब कुछ करना है?
हाँ जी।
अच्छा, so there are some kind of mismanagement also, because the people are in fact complaining about what the problems they are facing at the pollution checking center. But these are the voices in the national capital, and this is not only in Delhi. These are the problems that people all across facing, because this is a sudden increase in the amount of the challans. And as far as the states are concerned, some are already adopted, and some are yet to be adopted. Thus, whole new motor vehicle act. Back to you, sir.
Yes. Well, it's nice that you got us some voices there from the petrol pump itself, who are now with pressing urgency getting their pollution certificates here in place. Alok, stay on with us. Let me also introduce our panelists for the day here. We have Mr. Vinit Goenka of the BJP, Mr. Ravi Srivastava, founder member of AAP, is a citizen's voice with us here as well. Mr. Goenka, of course, no one's questioning the fines. This is undoubtedly to bring in more discipline as far as reducing the number of traffic violations here are concerned. But many are saying this is also a question of being far too expensive. There are a few states who have refused to implement it, saying that it is much too expensive for people. They're going to be relooking at before sending a notification out to their state police.
Let me congratulate Mirror now to take this up on the second time. Day before yesterday, one more anchor of yours have taken this issue. And just now you showed one of the motorists who said he has come to validate his pollution certificate after 1 year. You can understand the quantum of violation which was going on across the country. This sample survey of yours on 3 people, out of the 3, one saying that he has come after 1 year, itself shows that it was not taken very seriously. I think the amount which was prescribed in the earlier Motor Vehicle Act was correct those days. But over the years, the devaluation of the money and plus in the current circumstances, I think probably this is an appropriate amount which has been done. My request through your channel to whether it is Maharashtra, whether it is Tamil Nadu or any other government which has not accepted it immediately would be to do it. This will help reduce the violations. It will also help to install confidence in the pedestrians who are there, who use their road. And also, don't only see on the fines. Fines are only paid by the people who are violator. I think probably we all should encourage people not to violate the law. If you don't violate the law, where would be the question of being expensive or less expensive?
That's right. If you're not violating, there's nothing to be worried about here. Mr. Ravi Srivastav, what would be your view? Are you of the view that a more expensive fine is going to work as a deterrent? We've already seen how people are lining up to get their pollution certificates in place.
Sir, these fines are exorbitant and ultimately proving counterproductive. The fact is, what Honorable Minister was saying just now, that it is to improve the discipline amongst people. I think for improving a discipline, you need not make it 5 times or 10 times. India's per capita is only 10,500 rupees per month, and you are going to charge a fine of rupees 10,000 for an offence. This is not going to work the way. The fact is, you see your fatalities of people in India are very high, and those fatalities are because here the footpaths are encroached, the roads are broken, the potholes are there. While maneuvering, people are forced to walk in the middle of the road, and they get hit and they get injuries, and the fatalities are there.
Well, we're very briefly going across to breaking inputs coming in. This is an important update regarding the P. Chidambaram case. Breaking news being there is partial relief now for the former finance minister. This is, of course, in connection with the Aircel Maxis case. The special court having allowed anticipatory bail to P. Chidambaram. This is not the INX news case here for which he's been in custody. This is the Aircel Maxis case that we're looking at. He has got partial relief there as far as the other case there is concerned. Our Deputy News Editor Meenakshi Bhanja getting us those inputs here on whether or not this can have any impact on the current status of him being in custody, because Meenakshi, this is the other case of the Aircel Maxis that we're looking at.
Well, Seher, let's not confuse the issues. The matter which is pending before the Rao Savinit court, for which Mr. Chidambaram will be produced at around 3:30, is a different case. The orders of anticipatory bail that have come by from Judge Saini is pertaining to a different case. This is the Aircel Maxis case, in which there is relief that has come by for Mr. P. Chidambaram by way of this order, where anticipatory bail has been granted to Mr. P. Chidambaram in the Aircel Maxis case. Earlier part of the day, we have seen developments in the INX media case, where the Supreme Court declined to provide an umbrella of protection from interim arrest. These are both disparate, different cases in which both the agencies,
right,
ED and CBI, wanted to prosecute Mr. Chidambaram. So relief coming by for P. Chidambaram, Karti Chidambaram, in the Aircel Maxis case, where the trial court has permitted anticipatory bail plea on a surety amount of 1 lakh rupees. In the other case, which is the INX media case, he will be produced before the special judge at around 3:30 p.m., where the future course of action, if or not ED wants to interrogate him further in custody in the INX media case, or if he should be sent to Tihar jail under judicial custody, will be ascertained by the judge. But again, for the sake of our viewers, these are two disparate cases. Morning setback from the Supreme Court was in the INX media case. We are looking at a relief from the special judge, Patiala House Court, for Chidambaram and his son Karti in the Aircel Maxis case.
Meenakshi, many thanks for getting us those details here. This is, of course, pertaining to the second case in which he's facing charges, Aircel Maxis case. As far as status of being in custody in connection with the INX News case would be known more later this evening. Let's go back to what we were having the discussion. This is with respect to impact on people's lives on hiked up, far more expensive fines here of under the new Motor Vehicles Act. We of course are playing out various instances. There was a certain person in Bengaluru who was fined 59,000 rupees for multiple violations. There's a case in Bengaluru of a biker being fined 17,000 rupees. Mr. Ravi Srivastav, you were raising the point here that as far as the government's responsibilities on maintenance of roads, whether that should be connected with respect to traffic violations. How are you connecting the two here?
Of course, I'm saying that what are the compulsions? Why a person is forced to walk on the road? I think this is most important, that first the condition of the roads is improved, the footpaths are, encroachments are removed, and after that you can think about that automatically people will be disciplined. This kind of hefty fine will add only the corruption on that roadside, the traffic havaldars, the policemen, they will be harassing people. I have a point here that there is RC book and the insurance, these two documents should be allowed to be produced on a on the mobile phone of the person. As such things, such education has not been provided, and straightway they have started imposing the lefty fines over there, and that's the reason that many states are not on the board and they are opposing it and they have not implemented it. The another thing I would like to tell you, that in this city of Mumbai, there are 10 to 15,000 commercial vehicles, cars, scooters are parked on the road, which are scrap. The government does not have one mechanized scrapping yard in the entire country where the metal can be, recycled back to the manufacturers, and that metal can be used and these roads can be cleared. Thus, such attempts are not made by the government, but instead they are more interested in imposing the fines on people, and that's the reason that a 23,000 rupees challan on a 15,000 rupees scooty, he will throw it before the traffic person and say, okay, you keep it over there, I can't afford and can't pay it. This is what the situation going to arise.
Okay, Mr. Vinit Goenka, please react to that here. This is at the end of the day, because of the nature of the fines being so hefty beyond affordability, 59,000 rupees is literally like breaking the back of a person. Whether or not this should have required a more holistic approach in making sure the other responsibilities of the government with respect to traffic and maintenance of roads should have been taken into account before bringing this in. This is not just Mr. Ravi Srivastav raising this. This has been the discourse by several people, affected people on social media here as well, saying that because this is beyond affordability, one is going to be questioning the responsibility of governments as well on why not penalize officers who aren't doing their job of filling up potholes or maintaining quality of roads.
Day before yesterday, when I was on your channel and your anchor Tanvi was doing this, I used one word. I feel ashamed when I see the conditions of the road of many states and municipalities, irrespective which government rules it. That's not the way the roads can be. And we should just have transparency and also accountability of the officers, contractor, and if there is involvement of any politician in that particular part, they should be punished, named and shamed. There is nothing, two things about this. So there, I don't want to shy out whether it is my government or anybody else's government. If the responsibility is there, we have to take it up. And I feel many times this. Having said so, number two, these potholes make people to maneuver in a way where they violate the rules. I disagree with that particular part. Potholes don't make people not to take their pollution certificate. It does not make people not to wear a helmet. It does not make people to have a speed limit crossed. It does not make people not to carry their documents in their possession. So this argument is not proper. While yes, responsibility has to be there on the government officers, also on the elected representatives, you and me. So probably that discussion is right. But the second part of the gentleman was not correct. And as far as the part goes, whether that hefty fines, as I said in my earlier statement, fines are there only when you violate. Why do you want to violate the law? So there is no discussion on this particular part.
Okay. All right, let's get another input here. This is of course coming in with respect to Bengaluru. The latest
I would rather, if you permit me, I would like to rather be person. If you permit me.
This is for riding drunk, right, and riding without license. Vinit, coming to you in just a bit here, please. Let's take into account this latest case that's coming from Bengaluru as well. Our correspondent Neha. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
See, as far as this statement that, if the fines are more than the price of the vehicle, the person will throw it on the face of the law enforcement agency and then go out. So let me just warn them. Vehicles are registered in the name of the owner. Fines are recovered under Land Revenue Act. So it will be recovered irrespective whether you want to take the vehicle back or not. So they will identify it, trace you and take the fine. So my suggestion will be, please don't violate the law. Why do you want to violate the law?
I am talking about
what is this arrogance that you will throw the vehicles?
All right, so you're saying that this is high-handedness because...
Sir, I don't interrupt, sir. So my request to you is... Sir, I don't interrupt, sir.
On whether it should be taken as high-handedness because it's also affordability here. Yes, they would work as a deterrent, but multiple violations that are amounting to 59,000 rupees here. Could this be relooked into? Our correspondent Neha has been getting us further inputs here. Neha, how are people in Bengaluru receiving this? Because there is a huge question as far as affordability of these fines is concerned here. Of course, under no circumstances is anyone justifying a traffic violation. But usually in earlier instances, before the new motor vehicle came into being, you were stopped either for checking on your license or checking on your pollution certificate or checking on your registration. There was a check which was done only on one particular aspect, and now you have multiple checks all together, which is why you have a bill amounting to 60,000 rupees. How fair is that?
Well, sir, of course, we're here in the Cubbon Park junction of Bengaluru, which happens to be one of the busiest junctions. And while, on one hand, you have the traffic cops that have, of course, been going around and trying to, curb the violations of here. On the other hand, you also have commuters that are, of course, at this point of time, really voicing out their concerns against the fines. Because many a time, of course, like you rightly said, in certain cases, the fine may even amount to as much as about 60,000 in some cases. Let's actually quickly go over to, some of these people over here, commuters, and quickly get in a voice and ask them how fair or unfair they think the fines are. So now there's been these new fines that have been imposed with the amendment of the Motor Vehicle Act. How fair or unfair do you think it is, as a commuter? Fines have almost doubled and, yeah.
In one way, it's a good because, see, all the people, they are not following the rules and regulations and all. So in one way, I'm telling it's a route. Yeah, of course, it's so suddenly increase for 1 to 10% increase. It's very difficult to a normal person to pay, the public. That's what I.
Okay. अच्छा और सर अभी आप बताइए मतलब अभी फाइन ज़्यादा हुए हैं बहुत ज़्यादा हुआ है अभी फाइन्स लोगों को मतलब अभी ऑलमोस्ट डबल पे करना पड़ रहा है आपको क्या लगता है कि ये अच्छा है इससे वायलेशंस कम होंगे?
It's absolutely wrong. They have to think about the people also.
Sir, but what about the violations that have been continued? This is at the end of the day to try and curb that.
I mean, they can avoid the violation. Like, let them fine, no problem. But yeah, not in this way, no? Like 10,000, 15,000, what is this?
Okay.
Reasonable fine, okay, you can collect from the people.
All right.
But it's not...
Thank you. Well, there you have it, sir. Mixed responses here in Bengaluru. While on one hand, you have some commuters claiming that, it is good to fine. On the other hand, you have a couple of people raising concerns about the amount of the fines itself. We'll have to wait and see how effective this move is in the city of Bengaluru.
Okay, Neha, appreciate you getting us those voices here. Many thanks to our panelists for being with us here on this. Of course, on one end, it's being said that this is absolute high-handedness. It is against the affordability of people being fined 17,000, 59,000 rupees here. How would a person manage? All in agreeable that they should be fined for a traffic violation, but not to the extent that it's taking up your monthly income. Can there be a middle ground to this? Should there be a relook in the tariff of fines, the manner in which they've been hiked up, or the government would continue to maintain here that this works as the strongest deterrent? The best way, of course, here for each of us is to follow the rules. There is no working around the rules. Work towards the rules, follow the rules, and then, of course, undoubtedly, you don't need to fear for being fined at all. That's the way to go ahead. That's how the fines would work as a deterrent for your own safety, for your own good. Thank you for being with us.